Welcome back to the Pocono Raceway in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. We are under the red flag in the Pennsylvania 500, presented by Pep Boys after a violent crash involving Steve Park and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Both drivers are okay. The cars are gridded along the front stretch. They continue to work along the back stretch. Meanwhile, NASCAR President Mike Helton surveys the damage. And again, another testament to the safety innovations of the cars and the diligence and dedication the crews have to doing the work, putting those safety devices in those cars. I'm along pit road with Kevin Harvick, the winner at Chicagoland. And first of all, let's address the guys to put the safety equipment in these cars. We all talk about the research that goes into it, but the guys have to put it in the car for you to use.
Yeah, I mean, they spend hours on these race cars just putting the bodies and everything on, but they spend as much time in the cockpit of the race cars just making sure everything's where it needs to be, and I know NASCAR has made us pay a lot of attention to the inside of the cars, and you know, you look at all these race cars, and if you look probably a year and a half ago this time, you probably wouldn't see anything inside of the race cars in any of these drivers' cars that are the same. So, I mean, after watching, me and Gil were just watching the hit that Steve Park and Junior took, and that was a pretty big hit, and just a huge testament to NASCAR and everybody that puts these race cars together.
I asked you a few minutes ago about your hardest hit. It's not something a driver really likes to think about, but you recalled a couple of them.
Yeah, I mean, you know, anytime you wreck hard, you remember it. You know, we've taken a couple of good shots this year, at one at Bristol and one at Daytona right off the bat. But you know, that's part of our job. That's something that you have to climb out and get back and get right back in it and get at it. So I don't think that one car will be getting back at it today. I mean, that thing was pretty demolished, but I'm just glad to see that everybody was okay. And you know, the only thing I'm having a hard time with is I'm starting to get a conscience about this hair thing. I'm walking back, and Schrader says, "Man, you need to go put a hat on. Your hair looks bad." He says, "I thought my hair looked bad, but yours looks really bad."
That's from Yoakum picking on you the other day. Let's talk about a little brighter subject. You won at Chicagoland. Richard Childress Racing had 3 top 10s last week in New Hampshire, something this team had not done all year.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a couple weeks before we had all 3 of them in the top 12. At Sears Point, we had them all in the top 14, and then we came back last week and had them all in the top 10. So, I mean, everybody from the engine shops to the fab shops to the whole RCR organization they don't like running bad, and you know, I don't like running bad. Jeff and Robbie and none of these guys like running bad, but we all just put our heads down and went to work and really concentrating on what we were doing, and I think it's starting to show now. So we're looking forward to the second half of the year. It started off really well for us, and hopefully we can continue today.
Okay, have a great race. Good luck with the hair thing.
All right, thanks.
Okay, let's go further down pit road to Dave.
And right now, Ricky Craven is surveying the damage on the front of his Tide Ford. And Ricky, first of all, tell us, is that car in need of major repairs? And then again, tell us what happened out there, what you saw.
Well, yeah, we're going to have to come down pit road and fix it. We have the luxury of most of the race, so it's the time to fix it. But it got real crowded. Rusty was in the middle, Steve was on the outside, and it appeared as though Rusty thought he was clear, and Steve had enough on the outside of him that when Rusty moved up, he got into the wall, and then it got extremely crowded. The Tide Ford slid through there, and really, I think, you know, the good news was that Steve walked away, and that got everybody's attention. It was violent, and that was the priority, was to see Steve walking. And
how did you react when you saw it getting crowded in front of you?
I turned left, and you know, you don't have many options at that point. First of all, you don't expect it that early in the race, and you know, I'm glad Steve's okay. So that's again the priority. But it's pretty easy to be critical of that situation, because you look at the guys involved and you say, well, you know, I've been racing long enough so that don't need to happen that early on, and we'll bring the car down pit road and get it fixed. But the key is that we got through it okay, and it's not going to ruin our day. We're going to have to recover from it, but it's not going to ruin our day.
All right, well, hopefully it won't ruin his day. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Well, Dave, down here in the 13th position is Dale Jarrett. You followed the 40 through that mess. Take us through what you saw, DJ.
Well, as we got on the straightaway, I just saw a cloud of smoke all of a sudden, and then Steve Park came across in front of me, but it was right in front of the 8, and I saw those two start heading towards the infield. I knew it couldn't be good, but it was a close call for a lot of people. Just glad that the guys are okay. That's the main thing. Hate to see that happen, especially at the beginning of a race. We got 500 miles here, you know, long time to sort things out, but the main thing is they're okay, and we'll go back to racing here.
Now, safety has continued to increase, especially in the headrest area. Now, with that, vision has decreased. Can you kind of show us your right side headrest and how you've developed it so that way you can still see to the right?
Yeah, what we did here was kind of take it, and I wanted something that was really strong in case I had hard impact, but I also didn't want to take away my vision over here. The first one that we came with, I think at Charlotte last year, kept it to where I couldn't really see out the right side like I wanted to, and that's still very important. You know, we have great spotters up here and we have these mirrors, but you also need to be able to use your peripheral vision and look over here, and that's what we've been able to develop. My guys have really worked hard with this. I think it's something that's really strong and safe, but yet it doesn't impair my vision.
Now, talking to a lot of different spotters, they all say going into one, off of one, and over by the tunnel turn, that's where they don't have the best vision from their perspective high atop the grandstand. Does it rely more on the driver to kind of go with a little bit more of a gut instinct? Yeah, it's always up to the driver wherever you are if it's coming down this front stretch, but especially there, you've got to understand these guys are a long ways away, and what they could be able to see is probably speculative as far as being very sure on their part as to what they can really do and help you. So it's up to the driver. We're the ones that are in control of these things, and we have to be accountable for everything that takes place. Dale Jarrett looking for another win here at Pocono, trying to become the 5th driver out to sweep both races here at Pocono in a single season. He made it through the first one.
Yeah, so far it's Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Steve Park, the 3 drivers involved who are back in the garage area. Check the Wendy's race menu. Brickyard 400 time. Next weekend, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, 2 Eastern time on NBC. Then we go to the road course in Watkins Glen, Michigan, and Bristol later on in the month of August. Back at Pocono Raceway, Pep Boys presenting the Pennsylvania 500 that is under the red flag after just 5 laps complete, 4 of those under the caution. A lap 1, turn 1 crash involving Steve Park, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Rusty Wallace, damaging that guardrail, and repairs continue. Yesterday, the NASCAR Busch Series ran the Net Zero 250 out at Pikes Peak International Raceway in Colorado Springs. Hank Parker Jr. put a little fuel strategy on him to get his 2nd career win. Parker Jr. running the last 114 miles on a tank of fuel.
And talking to all the guys in the garage here this morning, they marveled at the fact that Hank Parker Jr. was able to run that far on 22 gallons of fuel.
Championship picture did not change much because the top 2 in points, Greg Biffle and Jason Keller, finished back-to-back in the race. The Busch Series headed off to Indianapolis Raceway Park. You'll see it on TNT next Saturday night. That's always a good race, too. A little half-mile short-track fender-banging thing.
Only 1 caution flag yesterday. I don't think they'll have that problem at IRP. Probably
No.
a dozen caution flags.
For the best in Major League action, tune into the Superstation this week. The Brewers head south to take on the Braves Tuesday and Thursday at 7:30 Eastern on TBS.